break it down to us like it's a celebratory moments of a glass or a bottle.
Everybody, this is All Things Beer 510, and today we got my man Alex from the Rare Barrel in Berkeley, California. As you know, I do reviews from time and time again, but I'm gonna start doing a lot of interviews. Most of you probably seen the Great Notion interview. Shout out to Paul. So now I'm interviewing 1/3 of the ownership team and the co-founder of Rare Barrel. So if you're not familiar with Rare Barrel, we're gonna talk about the history, what you guys are doing now, and also the future, like what is in the future for you guys. So if you don't mind, we're gonna do a cheers on camera. Dark sour, sorry guys, had to do it. If you can, Alex, just talk about a little bit about the background of Rare Barrel, how it came to be, how it came to Berkeley and the Bay Area. If you can just talk about your background as well.
Yeah, sure. So Rare Barrel started about 5 years ago, and we focus entirely on making barrel-aged sour beer. So all of our beers hang out in oak barrels behind us. You can see them for around a year. Some are done in about 6 months, some take 2 years. So all of them age in oak barrels, all of them are sour. They're acidic, they're tart, kind of like, if you haven't had a sour beer before, it's kind of like lemonade, handful of raspberries, wine too, very similar.
Okay.
So yeah, we got started about 5 years ago, and we've been open about 4 years. Part of the reason being, first whole year was just filling up barrels and you know, hoping that they were going to turn out all right.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they did.
Yeah, because you guys, going into the process of sour beers, you really, it's like a roll of the dice, right? You really don't know 100% for sure that the beer that you're making in this barrel is going to be what you expect it to be when you put it in, right? So
yeah, totally.
Okay.
There's, I think, you know, if you're making a really good Pilsner, you know, you get your process dialed in, and you can press go on your brew house, and if you hit all these different temperatures and times and everything, you're gonna do it right. You're gonna have a fantastic Pilsner. Not to make it sound like Pilsner is easy to make. They're probably the hardest style to make. But with sour beers, there's definitely another level of risk. It's a mixed fermentation. You have different strains of yeast and bacteria working. And, you know, at the end of the day, we end up dumping a lot of beer that goes off in the wrong direction that we don't want to blend in.
Okay, and then 5 years ago, you came here. As you guys know, originally I'm from Fairfield, California. I moved to Oakland about 4 years ago. Wasn't really a crazy beer fan. I worked in the city. I went to Cellar Maker, and I was like, oh, this is different. Then I came here, and I was like, this is really different. And you know, I started getting into beer, kind of with you guys and Cellar Maker, a couple others, Russian River. Can you talk about? You're from the Bay originally, South Bay. Can you talk about why Berkeley was a location for Rare Barrel? Is Jay from? I don't know if he's from Berkeley.
Yeah. So the three of us who started the Rare Barrel are from the Bay Area.
Okay.
I grew up in the South Bay area, and Jay and Brad grew up in the Peninsula.
Okay.
So for us, the Bay Area is home to us. So when we wanted to put down roots, we wanted to be somewhere in the Bay Area.
Okay.
We were scouring all over the Bay Area for different warehouses that were around 10,000 square feet and had 26-foot tall ceilings.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted. And when we were doing this search, we found that Berkeley has this awesome climate where it stays cool in the summer and doesn't get too cold in the winter. And to be exact, you know, the climate history, it hovers somewhere between 50 degrees to 70 degrees, which is perfect for barrel aging sour beer without having to run air conditioning or heating.
Okay.
So for us, that was kind of a huge deal for us. And then on top of that, Berkeley is just kind of a really cool city with a lot of like, it's got a lot of diversity here that kind of, I feel like is open to a weird brewery like ours where we're only doing sour beer. So that's kind of all the things kind of checked for Berkeley that way.
Yeah, and you know, guys, you know, 510, if you guys are not from the Bay Area and don't know, 510 is cities like Oakland, cities like Berkeley, cities like Alameda. Yes, Alameda is a city. And the island for that. So, and we have San Leandro. So in San Leandro, there's Drake's. In Berkeley, you have you guys in Fieldwork. In Oakland, there's Triple Rock, and there's Temescal in Oakland. So that's what the 510 is, if you guys don't know. So if you're ever visiting Rare Barrel, I tell everybody, Rare Barrel, oh, I'm coming to the Bay Area, where should I go? Rare Barrel. Like one of the first places I tell them to go. Changed my mind on beer, and I know it'll probably change other people's minds too, who are not probably big sour fans. If you come here and you're not a sour fan, trust me, after you leave here, you probably will be a sour fan. Just get some Tums. So, so you're not the brewer, right? So
right.
You have Jay, the brewer.
Yeah.
His brother on the business side.
It's actually his dad.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I probably could give him a compliment over here.
Yeah.
and then you are on like sales and marketing.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your role as far as what you bring to the team and what Jay does and what his dad does?
Yeah. Changes every day. But no, funny story. We actually, when we started the Rare Barrel, or when the idea of starting a brewery started, when Jay and I were best friends in college, and we really naively said, "Hey, let's start a brewery." I was going to be the brewer. Jay was going to do the business side because I have a bio background. He has a psychology background, and, but he was first to graduate, got a job, fast tracked to brewing, and he was already a brewer by the time I graduated. So we swapped.
Okay.
But the reason I say that is because it's kind of helped us out in the long run because we're kind of both cross trained. So I have a bio background and I can talk shop with him on production. He has a psychology background and kind of talk shop on the sales and marketing side.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, to answer your question, to go back to the beginning, what I do is I oversee the beer from when production says, "Hey, this beer passed our QC, and now it's good for you guys to sell." So everything after that. So packaging, the tasting room, beer names, which is always fun. Although I don't hog all of that. We share that to whoever in the brewery can come up with the best name.
You guys have dope names. Some names are like, how did you come up with that? But yeah, there's some dope names. I know it's hard coming up with beer names and licensing and all these things. So you guys managed to come out with creative names that nobody has.
I can't tell you how many times we come up with a great name and then we run to Untapped or Beer Advocate and it's taken. But no, that's another creative outlet. The beer is one part of the art, and the name is also finding a great name for beer is a creative outlet, and the art for the packaging design too is also a way to express ourselves.
And when we talk about creativity and just when we talk about Rare Barrel, if you guys do not know, they're closed today. So yes, I'm in here, but it's Tuesday. I'm not posting this on Tuesday, but it's Tuesday. You guys are closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then you're open Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah.
A lot of breweries these days, and nothing's against this, but people are opening 7 days a week, or at least 5 days a week, or late hours. Can you talk about? I don't know if it plays any part, but you guys are called Rare Barrel.
Yeah.
You guys, when I first came here, I don't even know if you guys are open 4 days a week, but you guys are not open every day.
Right.
You guys don't have bottles everywhere in the store.
Right.
You guys are not on tap everywhere. So there is some rarity to having Rare Barrel beer. Can you talk about the business model going into that? Is that something that you guys always wanted to do with the name and kind of how rare it is to get your beer, or is it just talking about rare barrels also to get that you are aging the beer in? Is it both, or both?
So it started off not as any sort of reference to how easy or difficult it would be to get our beer. And frankly, I thought that when we first opened, I was going to have to be knocking down every single door to try and get people to buy sour beer, because the sour beer market that we have right now is not half as close to developed as it was, or it's way more developed now than it was back then.
Yeah.
The name, the Rare Barrel, is actually an idea, and it's this idea that there's this one barrel that's better than the rest.
Okay.
And it's this rare barrel that has the perfect blend of yeast and bacteria in it. That's so good. That's the Rare Barrel. And we got this idea from hearing the story of this barrel called PH1 that started off back in the 90s. It was crafted in France, used to make wine for a few years. Then it went out to New Belgium, and it was one of the first 7 barrels of New Belgium's sour program.
Okay.
And New Belgium, amongst a few others, kind of brought sour beer into the U.S.
Yeah.
So it's one of their first barrels, and then it accidentally disappeared and wound up at Russian River. And went on to make the first batch of beatification at Russian River.
Okay.
And we heard this story about this barrel that traveled from one place to another making great beer, and we were just like, there's a barrel there's going to be a barrel in our cellar that has that perfect blend of yeast and bacteria. So we got inspired by it so much so to name ourselves the Rare Barrel. and we have this search that goes on where we've done it once before and we're doing it again this April. We're actually the first one here, and then we're doing it again because we haven't announced anything yet. But we're doing the search for the rare barrel where we bring in, last time we brought in 150 people over the course of the weekend to go back into our barrel cellar and taste through our barrels.
Wow.
And basically narrow down the top 10 barrels, and then Vinny from Russian River and Lauren from New Belgium both came out to select the top barrel. So we're doing a similar style search again, but that's what the rare barrel is actually named after. Now, yeah, when we started, we definitely did not make enough beer to meet the demand, and the problem with the beer we make is that it takes a year to make. So, you know, if we sell out of a bottle release quickly, we can say, okay, let's make more, and then, you know, maybe a year or so later, we'll be able to catch up with that. And then if you're not right then, you know, then you kind of keep playing this game of leapfrog. Yeah,
and to go off rare barrel, guys, just to let you guys know who don't know, when you think sour beer, there is, you know, Russian River, Santa Rosa.
I was there yesterday.
New Belgium, Fort Collins, Jester King, Texas, Cascade, Portland. So just some of the, you know, sours I think of about sour beer when it comes to barrel aging. But a lot of people these days, there is, you know, other sour beers. They're called kettle sours. So we have Jay Wakefield, I believe, has some kettle sours, or Berliners. God. And then Alvarado from Monterey also has a lot of kettle sours. Can you talk about, just for people who don't know, when they see sour beer, they maybe think it's all the same, like all Pilsner is the same or all stout is the same, but there's a little difference between what you guys do as far as the barrel aging and the kettle sours. Can you just talk about the difference in the process of it, and double Haley Punch from Alvarado, and Haley Punch is like outstanding. So there are like great kettle sours, but they're not the same process of making it. Can you just describe the process and the difference between the two?
Yeah, totally. I'd say the best way to think about it is sour is a descriptor, but it's not gonna tell you how you got to sour. And sour is kind of a, depending on how you look at it, good or bad descriptor for what is actually an acidic beer. So it's lactic acid and acetic acid that make the beer taste sour. But the way you get there for a beer like ours is we're going to brew wort, then we'll do a primary fermentation, and sometimes we'll add bacteria then, or sometimes we'll let the beer ferment for a month and then add bacteria. And then it's going to age in oak barrels for a year. And over that course of the year, you have this really long, slow fermentation. You're going to develop a lot of these, you know, if you do it right, you develop a lot of these unique, complex flavor profiles that are really tough to find in other foods. And at the end of that year, you blend it together. And if you do it right and use the right colors in your painting kit, you kind of can create something that's very complex and unique and has a lot of depth in the flavor profile. Big part of that, though, I'd say too, is when things go wrong and you have a barrel that has an off flavor, don't try and blend that in and hide it, dump it down the drain. You know, keep everything as perfect as it can be.
This, guys.
Maybe that's me getting on the soapbox right
there. No, because there are some, I'm not naming names, but there are a lot of breweries, which I like that about you. I don't like that you have to dump beer. I would hate that. But I like the fact that, hey, something's not right. We're not serving this to the public. Where some breweries, guys, because some people really can't tell off flavors, right? Some people, especially with sour beer, they may think it's supposed to taste like that. Where, you know, certain people can tell. So I really appreciate that you guys, hey, this is not good. Let's dump this. Instead of, you know, somebody might charge $40 for a bottle, and that bottle may not be good. And they might know that selling it to you. So just guys, test out your palate, know what all flavors are. Everything that is sour is not maybe supposed to be sour. Everything sour is not fantastic. You know, if you are having a raspberry sour, you want to be able to taste the raspberries. You want to be able to taste the flavors that the beer is meant to be. So just, you know, be mindful of that when you're getting into beer if you don't know what you're doing. For those that know, you could fast forward past this.
But, you know, go back to your question about kettle sour. Kettle sour, unlike barrel-aged sour beer, you can turn that around in a few weeks. And instead of getting the acidity during your primary fermentation or after, you're going to get the acidity right up front in the very beginning in the kettle, and you're going to get that acidity, and then you're going to boil it. And you're going to kill that bacteria. The thing that can happen there is there's the chance for some very weird off flavor production there. But there's brewers out there, don't get me wrong, there's brewers out there that do it right. And then you're also going to not have the same like layering of complexity of a barrel-aged sour beer, most likely.
Okay.
So there might be some people out there who could make one as well as a good barrel-aged sour, and can kind of, that'd be fun to check that out.
Yeah.
More often than not, I think are a little more challenging to get that same depth in a kettle sour.
Than a barrel-aged sour.
But they can each serve their purpose too, you know? It's kind of like any other beer style or like a wine, you might have your wine that's good for, drinking a few glasses real quick, and you just want something to drink and not think about, and then you might have that other bottle that
you want to sit on.
You want to sit on and kind of chill out and kind of really take some time to get into it.
Yeah, it's just like music, right? You guys, and if you go to the club, you hear all this great hip hop music, but it's not necessarily the same music that you might play in your car while you're thinking.
Yeah.
Both might be great. It's just different times and different things that you're looking for at that certain time. So both are great, just for different things.
Yeah.
So can you talk about we're drinking Ensorcelled?
Yeah, we're drinking Ensorcelled.
So can you talk about that? You just had Ensorcelled Day.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I missed that. Kind of pissed off that I missed that. But I've seen that you had variants of Ensorcelled. Are you going to start doing Ensorcelled Day every year? Is it going to be turn into a special day? Like, how they have, trying to think of these special days for beer, Huna Day and all these. Is that what Ensorcelled might turn into? Because I've seen it, I'm like, oh, and then I've seen the variants. I'm like, oh, okay. You guys had a peanut butter version?
we had a few different variants.
Oreo version.
Yeah.
So is this something that maybe in the future might, because you guys have a lot of space, if you guys don't see anything like a festival, mini festival, anything like that?
I think this is the first time that we called it Ensorcelled Day, and the reason we went with Ensorcelled is because this is one of our first beers that we've made, I think, in bottles. This, I think, is our fifth time in bottles, maybe fourth though. But it's one that was one of our first 5 batches of beer, and this is when we didn't have anything out yet, and our beers were just starting to get in that kind of teenage phase in the barrels where their character starts to develop, but they're still not fully molded yet. And this is one that Jake kept going back to. And he's like, this is my favorite of our first batches.
really good.
And it's a stark sour aged in oak barrels with raspberries. We have around 42 pounds of raspberries to each oak barrel. So to put that in perspective, that's like 5 gallons worth of fruit in a 59-gallon barrel. And it creates this kind of, the way I describe it is like a chocolate raspberry tart dessert. You get the chocolate from the dark malts, the chocolate malts, the black malts in this beer, and then you get this bright kind of raspberry that kind of plays in with it, very much like a dessert. So going back to Ensorcelled Day, for us this is a beer that means a lot to us, and we've got a couple awards too from Great American Beer Festival and World Beer Cup. So it's just kind of one that our customers like, we like. People have given us industry recognition for it, and it's kind of become a thing. And with our new restaurant that opened, we thought it'd be a fun time for our chef to try out some new recipes that pair specifically with the beer. So in addition to variants, we had a special entree, a special dessert, and things like that. And it's at the end of the day, I think a big part of these beer is, it starts off as the beer itself, but then it's also the experience that you tie to it. It's like who you're with, hanging out, connecting over a beer. Sometimes can be just as important as the beer itself.
As the beer itself. You're drinking a beer, you're eating food, you remember where you was at this time when you had that beer. Yeah. Beer is an experience. It's a great social tool to meet people. And you lead me right into my next question. You talked about your new restaurant. When I came here, your grilled cheese sandwiches were like bomb. And now, my wife the other day was, Chauncey. Yes, my name's Chauncey. I never say my name on camera. But Chauncey, it's like real food. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? I seen like a nice plate with some food. Can you talk about your new restaurant and what your, you know, because that's new. Not a lot of, I came back from Portland, like every single damn pub has a real restaurant. Yeah. Not too much in the Bay, but can you talk about that now? Your new restaurant, you've been open for about 4 or 5 years now?
Yeah, so we've been open for about 4 years now.
So now this is something totally different. And can you talk about the new restaurant and maybe how the food inspires the beer or how the beer inspires the food?
Yeah, totally. So like you were saying, we had grilled cheese right out the gate for most of the time since we've been open, and just one grilled cheese.
Don't tell me those are going away.
It's gone for now, but we have been receiving some complaints from people. But it was just kind of like you know, extra sharp cheddar on there, sourdough, brush it with some garlic infused olive oil, and it's just kind of just like savory bite to work well with beer. It's kind of like a blanket snack.
Okay.
And when you're thinking about beer and food pairing, with sour beer, you always think like the slam dunk thing is the acidity in the beer cuts through the fat in food really well. So if you pair it with a cheese, pair it with a meat, something that has some fats to it, those are going to play really well together. So that's why we had a grilled cheese. The reason it was just a grilled cheese is I was too afraid to open up a kitchen, like a legitimate restaurant, in addition to everything else going on. And I didn't want that, frankly, to distract so much from the beer side of things. So we kind of waited until we had the beer side of things dialed in and the right team in place here to where we could open up the kitchen.
Okay.
We got an awesome chef, Chef Karis Wall, who has around 17 years experience as a chef, and she is all about locally sourced, using ingredients that are in season, rotating through, but having a simple yet very thoughtful menu. Okay. And so on our menu now we have 3 starters. One of them is like this, and I will say it's all like designed to be shared too, because again, going back to what I was saying about the experience, it's all about things for me to connect one person to another. And beer is one, and food is another one that's right up there.
Perfect town. We're a foodie town, foodie area, so it's like perfect match. Yeah. Speaking of, not to cut you off, you just, I'm not a pro, so don't, I don't want to see no damn comments about, hey, let Alex talk. Hey, we're doing fine. So, but we talked about the kitchen. We talked about just Rare Barrel. Can you talk about, with the kitchen, any new things that you guys are going to be doing? This is a huge space and beautiful space. Are there any plans in the future to maybe expand or do different styles? Because Rare Barrel doesn't necessarily have to be sour beer. It can be barrel aged this or barrel aged that. Is there any plans in the future, maybe 5 or 10 years from now, if you're thinking that far, to do anything even more rare than what you're doing right now?
Well, we did back in 2012 finger paint in the wet cement over there, all sour since 2012.
Okay.
I don't know. My hands are kind of tied right now. But I mean, I think right now we don't have any plans to do anything besides sour beer. We got into this because, and we decided to focus entirely on sour beer because we feel like if we focus entirely on barrel-aged sour beer, we're going to make better sour beer than if we tried to do barrel-aged sour beer, barrel-aged stouts, IPA, hazy IPA, West Coast IPA.
A million styles.
Yeah, and so it does for sure limit us, but I think that I would say now, I'd put all my money on we're making better beer now than we would be right now if we also tried to make
30 other styles, right?
There are, and don't get me wrong, there are people that can do it.
Trust me,
there have done it. But props to them.
But hone in on one thing.
We just wanted to focus on that, and that'd be our jam. And for us, we got into it all barrel aged. We spent about 5 years trying to figure out what type of brewery we wanted to be. This was while Jay was brewing, and then he became the head of the barrel aging program at the brewery down in Orange County. Yeah. And we started drinking a lot of sour beer there, and then one thing we realized was just like, all right, this is what we want to drink. And then when we were going out to trying to find more, it was really tough to find. You had to be at the right place, right time, know the right people. And then Jay also had this unique skill set, knew how to make sour beer. He wasn't a pro by any means, but he knew it enough for us to make a leap into doing this and continue learning. And we're still learning today, and I hope we're still learning in 10, 20 years.
Yeah, and one thing also too, just a little different. You guys do make great sours, but I'm leading into Beer Week. I think on the 11th, I believe, is the Cellar Maker Tangerang bottle release. So Cellar Maker from San Francisco, you guys hooked up. Shout out to Tim and Connor, whole team over there. And you guys, they do hops really well. You guys do sours really well. So there is a little difference between like what you guys do on an everyday basis and even what they do on an everyday basis. Can you talk about, before we even talk about Beer Week, the crazy week that it is, just that day in particular, and how that came about with that beer and that bottle release? Totally. This is the first time it's in bottles too.
First time in bottles, yeah. We've been building up to this with those guys for, I want to say, 3 to 4 years now.
Okay.
I have to look at a calendar to really confirm, but it sounds about right. But we originally, Cellar Maker and us kind of started on opposite sides of the bay, right around the same time. And I remember the first time they came over here, we were having a little bottle share, and it was an all sour bottle share. And this place is empty.
Okay.
And Tim shows up with a growler of IPA.
Okay.
It's like, dude.
Damn Tim.
but it actually fits it perfect because, one thing I like to do is, after drinking 2 sour beers, have a hoppy beer or a stout, something to switch it up. Cleanse your palate, start over. Same with IPAs. If I'm having 2 IPAs, have something to sit in, switch it up. So I applaud Tim for bringing that growler to it. Going back, we became friends from that ever since, and just kind of our relationship has grown, and we started making beers together. And when we wanted to start making a dry hop sour, we started talking to them about hops and things like that, because in sour beer, hops is not an ingredient you use that much. It's the least used ingredient for us. So we just started making this beer called Tangerang, and it was basically taking some of our golden sours and using the hops from their beer Bangarang. So we really like that hop profile, and that kind of morphed into this beer that we found was, in general, what we found when we started making dry hop sours is they're great for the first couple of weeks. And then you get this shift in the flavor profile that for us, more often than not, was kind of turning into this like pickly dill kind of thing that we didn't like. So if we didn't sell out of the beer by the time that flavor started to present, we wouldn't serve that beer anymore. And so I kind of turned into this multi-year long track of how do we make a hoppy sour beer that could preserve and tastes great in a bottle over months and years, and this is it.
Because I'm thinking about that. I'm like, I've had Bangarang, but I have not had the Tangerang. So I'm like, oh, that's different. And so, when I thought about like, is it gonna, can I buy a few bottles to not drink right away? Because with hops, I know how that is, and but I'm assuming that's gonna work really well together. So
so this is Tangerang is now our 3rd release that we put in bottles. Our first one is That Place Between, and that came out at our 4th anniversary party in November. So and that one's still tasting great. And that one went into bottles 3 months before that. So
Perfect.
I'm optimistic about its aging, although
who knows, but it'll be fun. it'll be fun. And so speaking of that event, like I said, that's Saturday, February 11th. Today is January 22nd. I'll probably be releasing this a week or a few days before the 9th. There's the big gala on the 9th, which is crazy. And then on the 10th, you guys have, I was inside joke. I was telling, I might not be able to make it that day. We'll see. You guys have NorCal versus SoCal. Love what you guys are doing with the blind tasting. Can you? And then we have an event also, the Pink Boot Society honoring women in craft beer. And then there's also...
And that was on the second Saturday.
Second Saturday, which I'll probably try to be at that one. And there's also the event for Central California. I know some of the money that made from that day goes to the people in Central Cal that I think it was the fires. And
the big fires down there. And, And so we're donating a portion of every beer sale
to help them. Yeah. So crazy 2 weeks. Like crazy, I think almost every day you guys are doing something.
We have something going every day except Tuesday.
Yeah, so can you talk about your events and, you know, I know you're excited about every single one, but just if there's one like, oh my God, like I can't wait to see people's reaction to this, or I'm really excited about NorCal, SoCal, because you guys are doing blind tasting. There's some big dogs from SoCal, and there's a lot of big dogs from Northern Cal, and it's like a competition actually. You're going to be pitting.
Yeah, it's a friendly competition. We're calling it the NorCal SoCal showdown, where we have 10 breweries from NorCal paired up against 10 from SoCal, and each brewery pair is going to have their own beer style, and so you order the 2 beer flight, where you have your fruited barrel-aged sour and your fruited barrel-aged sour next to each other, and then you're not going to know which brewery it came from, and then you'll cast your vote, and we'll collect all the votes and see if NorCal or SoCal gets a higher rating. And we're kind of, we're probably inciting some trouble with a competition like this. But one thing we like to do with Beer Week is involve our friends from outside of the Bay Area. We get to drink our beer in the Bay Area all the time, and we get spoiled in that with such good breweries around here. And so it's a fun opportunity for us to bring some friends in from out of town.
Guys, if you don't know, because last year you guys had a crazy week. Trillium was here. I wasn't here that day, but I know that went super fast. You guys had a few others, but I remember the Trillium. Jester King here.
Jeff and Avery came out.
But I remember my guy was like, the line is crazy out the door of the Trillium. So now you guys got Noble coming. Noble Ale Works from SoCal. You guys have Celador coming, I believe.
Yeah, we have Celador. We have Beechwood, Pure Project, Highland Park.
Green Cheek. Yep, Green Cheek. So ex-Noble.
Check out Green Cheek if you guys haven't yet.
Amazing IPAs.
Green Cheek.
Amazing IPAs.
One of the best brewers in the world.
Yeah, Green Cheek is in Anaheim, I believe.
Right
Anaheim. And the ex-Noble brewer opened up his brewery at Green Cheek. So if you're in SoCal, check that out. And then from the Bay, we have Rare Barrel. We have Cellarmaker, Alvarado,
Sante Darius, Temescal, Humble Sea, Sierra Nevada, 50/50, Russian River. Amazing.
amazing day. So check that out. And then if we want to talk about the women in craft beer, because when I was looking at the list, there was a lot of women on I did not know. I was like, oh. I mean, I know about, like I said, New Belgium, and I know about Jester King, but there was like a lot others that I did not know about. So that's dope that you're highlighting women in craft beer. Can you talk about that event as well?
Yeah, totally. So on our staff here, we have Danielle and Jenna, and they both work with Pink Boots Society. And Danielle is the co-leader of the local chapter of Pink Boots, and Jenna is the treasurer of Pink Boots. And Pink Boots Society is it's an organization that's designed for women to encourage career advancement and help in that capacity. And so that's something that we totally want to support here. We have in the past, and this is a big way for us to support it, is generate awareness about it and generate awareness about women that are making awesome beer in the beer industry, because at the end of the day, it is a pretty male-dominated industry. So what we're doing here is, taking some special beers that women have made, and then also donating a portion of the proceeds from that day to the Pink Boots Society, so that money can be reinvested in women in beer.
That's a dope event, dope 2-week events.
And cool thing too that we're finding out is there's a bunch of women who are coming out specifically for that event. So we talked to them and said, hey, are you comfortable with us, or are you cool with us, having your beer and promoting you at this event? And one of them I just heard, Kim is flying out from Maui Brewing Company. From Maui.
Just for that event. That's dope.
It's crazy.
That's a dope.
But it's cool.
It's cool.
That's cool to to get that support for that organization.
And that's super cool. It's really Berkeley. like just the whole Bay Area in general is just very inclusive. And that's just a dope event. I seen the event and I'm like, okay, I gotta go to that event. I gotta go to the Cellar Maker event. There's a couple other events during the week that I may try to also go to. So just, you know, dope 2 weeks of events. Beer Week is crazy. If you're in the Bay Area, please, you know, just check the schedule, check Rare Barrel out if you're out here. Before we wrap it up, is there anything that, any, you know, advice to any people coming up in the industry that want to do sour beers, or just, you know, open up a brewery period, or open up a tap room? Is there any advice you want to offer anybody that's watching, or you know, people that are watching, or people that will talk to me and say, oh, you know, what did Alex tell you? Any advice for me? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I do. Man, on advice side of things, I would say if you are looking into getting into making any sort of beer these days, I'd say, you know, make sure it's excellent, first and foremost. And it's not just if your mom or your brother or your girlfriend tells you it's excellent, but get it out there into people's hands who really drink beer. And then I'd ask yourself, you know, how are you different from every other brewery? You know, when we started the Rare Barrel, there were, I think, around 2,500 breweries in the US. And now there's around 6,000 breweries in the U.S.
Ridiculous.
So yeah, so it's a lot different. I think it's a lot more challenging these days to differentiate yourself. You know, even if you are making an amazing IPA, how are people going to know about your amazing IPA compared to the amazing IPA at Green Sheet, or the amazing IPA at Noble, or Cellar Maker, or Alvarado, or Sante? So, you know, find out what makes you tick and what makes you different. And then one thing we always ask ourselves before we do anything here is we start with why. Why are we doing this? Why are we having this this event celebrating women in beer? You know, why are we doing it? You know, are we doing it just to have a party, or are we doing it for something more? So we kind of like start with the foundation of why are we doing it? Why are we naming this beer this way? Why are we making this beer wine hybrid with a lot of Merlot grapes? And if you kind of start with why and ask yourself that question, then you might find yourself off in a better direction that you're comfortable with down the road.
My man, Hyper Paradise top 3 beer for me for the year. That was great. I did not review that, but Hyper Paradise was like, man, that was ridiculous. But yeah, guys, thank you, my man, for this interview. Guys, if you don't know about Rare Barrel, you should. But if you don't know, hit them up. 940 Parker Street, Berkeley, California, the Yay area, the Bay Area. Come out here, good time, great beer, great people, and you know, there's some other breweries around the way too. So, and a Berkeley Bowl too. That's not too far away from here. So yeah, so get you some good food. You know, some good meat, some good cheese. I get in trouble when I leave here. You know, so come to the area, come to Rare Barrel, drink great beer. Until then, next time, you guys take care. Peace and love.